And I imagine that's more rewarding, because if you know what you're doing, I mean, we all come into public services, don't we, to make a difference, to make a contribution. So knowing what you're doing by way of effort actually has the results that you really want to achieve for that person that you're working with. Must be more rewarding. Did you find that?
We do, and we found that staff motivation is increased.
Right.
Following, bearing in mind we lost, this sounds a very wonderful process. It was very painful. We lost 120 staff in that one restructure.
And out of how many roughly?
Out of about 320.
Right.
So we lost a third of the staff.
Yeah.
We moved staff around into new positions because we'd created different levels of roles.
Yes.
Because we built the structure. We took out one layer of management, replaced it with senior practitioners, because what we wanted was a practitioner who was very much more developed in their practice and ability to innovate. So we created those posts. So we had a lot of not only losses but movement.
Yes.
People in new roles, their roles were the same technically, but changing in terms of what we're asking them to do and how we got to do it.
Yes.
So we had all that change in the system, and like I said, we achieved it from the September through to the April. We then probably spent, conscious that you can only plan to a certain degree, so we knew we'd have still a lot more work to do, and we spent the first year of the restructure making sure we'd got it right, changing anything that we got wrong or we thought we could do better. So we moved some of the management of the senior managements around, their responsibilities around. We made them thematic as opposed to geographic. So it's one thing we spotted. So now we have a senior manager on every style of practice rather than the geographics.
Could you give me an example of a theme? Type of theme?
In a sense, so we've had one manager now sat over what we call youth interventions.
Right.
So there's one person driving youth innovated youth work, youth-led group work, youth work, etc. Youth innovations, looking at developing group work programs that support the outcomes we want to achieve. So that side of work. So one manager sits over that, information, advice and guidance. We have one manager who sits over statutory duties in terms of leaving care, one over YOS, which we tended to have anyway, and one who does voice and engagement as well as projects and partnerships. So we're able to galvanise that each manager has their own thematic lead.
Right.
But actually underneath them, their managers are geographically based. Sounds very complex, but what it does was that they've got one straight report on the style and practice development, which works with strengthening in every area. But geographically, the managers co-locate so they actually can share across, because we're picking and mixing the support. So the managers work as a team across
and they can see the whole system and how people move through the system and understand how it all connects.
So if a young person lands in youth interventions and works out that actually they need more of an intensive input because of the needs we've identified more clearly, it's very easy then just to move them across. Or if they need information, advice and guidance, it's all in the same geographic area. So it works, and that's what we're doing. We can supporting people more effectively in that they're not being bounced around, they're being integrated into different support mechanisms, and that's helping build their resilience. Predominantly with one or two key workers that support them. One thing it was also able to do was, because we built flexibility, we took on the leaving care service. So we integrated into that model, because we planned for the same sort of, because it was outcome based, which is independence and adulthood. We were able to bring that in and integrate a leaving care service, which had a cohort of 300 young people that leave. So any young person now leaving care comes to us. We've integrated 300 of those in this last year, and at no extra resource cost. It's built within our systems.
That's great.
We've just grafted that these are effectively, we're looking at them as these are a key cohort we need to serve with the outcomes. They can be the most vulnerable. They're the most vulnerable, most targeted. They're just a cohort. We've adopted that. So in effect, we've created a whole new leaving care service, but at zero cost in terms of additional resourcing. So the outcomes model says if you're looking to achieve this, one of the things we're finding very beneficial is we can effectively look at the cohorts of young people, families, communities that we wish to support, and just integrate them into that resource base. We're not constantly now changing our resource base. to adapt to different cohorts or adapt to different situations.
Yes.
It's the other way around,
Yeah.
and that is very effective and very cost efficient, because we've managed to absorb again over £170,000 of in-year cuts in terms of grant losses, not county council,
sure.
but we're liable to other areas where we get grants from being reduced. So we've managed to absorb those in-year on the basis that again we have the flexibility in our resource base to just take that on board and move people around and do things differently. So it gives you much more flexibility to cope with change, to cope with the environment and context. You can tell I'm pretty sold on this.
I can, absolutely I can.